Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Very exciting announcement today because the fourth Great Big Little Stitchery Swap is going to be starting soon, and it's time for us all to start looking for our swapsters, which is what we call the people, our swap partners. So the Great Big Little Stitchery Swap, if you haven't come across it before, this all started last year. It was just a little idea. I just thought I might find half a dozen friends, online friends who might like to swap a little square of stitchery with me, and it just went absolutely nuts. Grew wings and flew off by itself. It was incredible. What a year that was, the year of the whatnots and the Stitchery Swap starting. So we're now on number 4. It will start on the 1st of October, and the deadline to get your stitcheries done and dusted and posted out will be the 31st of December, so there's plenty of time. But I know a lot of people like to start thinking ahead about what they're going to do, and certainly start putting their little list of swapsters together. So I've got a list so that I make sure I tell you everything. Hopefully I will cover everything during the course of this video. If not, please pop a question in the comments, or you can message me through the Discord community or Facebook group. Now, before I say anything else, I don't want you to feel like you've got to be a brilliant embroiderer to be able to join in with this. It's all about slow stitching, enjoying the process. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's a little piece of you and what you love to do that you're sending to someone else. You get the joy of making it and giving it to someone else, and you get the extra joy of getting one back in return, which is just amazing. I cried every time I opened one. I am going to put a link to my Stitchery Swap playlist. It's quite long now because it covers the first 2 swaps that I joined in with. I sat the last one out, as well as the process of putting the swaps I'd received into a fabric book, as a couple of videos where I was just showing how to get started making a square if you've not done it before. So that will give you a lot of information. I'll also put links to the previous 3 swap galleries. I put together a kind of online gallery, so you can have a look at all of those as well, to give you some ideas. Previously, we've always done a 10 by 10 centimetre square, or 4 by 4 inches. It's helpful to leave an extra kind of seam allowance around. So if you have a look at this one, couple here that I've made before, the video about how I made these is in that playlist. So here's the squares that I've made. You'll see that the bit of the backing felt that I cut there was actually the 10 by 10, but I've left a seam allowance all around. I've still covered it with my fabrics, and I've stitched into it a tiny bit, but I haven't done any, the fancy stitching only covers that 10 by 10. And really the idea for that seam allowance is because some people were stitching them together into quilts, some people were wanted to be able to turn the edges under and kind of mount them, or it just helps to have that little seam allowance. What I did was with mine was just stitch them on as they were, and I just stitched them into my fabric book, kind of hinged like that, so that I could still see the back, because I had to think about needing to see the messy back sides. The optional twist is to make a tag instead of a square. And I went on to, I'm sure lots of people watching this will have seen Anne Brooke, Textile Artist, on YouTube, and she did a series 52 tags. Here is the beginning of, I think this was only the second one she was doing. I'll link to Anne Brooke as well, so you can find this. Her whole playlist for the 52 tags is still up there. And I decided to go by the size tags that she was doing, because I think that's quite a nice size. So the size Anne was using there was 10 by 5 centimetres or 2 by 4 inches, which of course is exactly half the size of the squares that we've made before. With the tags, of course, you will need to put a backing on, because they're going to get seen from both sides. But the backing can just be a piece of pattern fabric or plain fabric. You don't have to do any stitching on that. You could, if you want, you could get fancy and embroider your name onto it, or the recipient's, your swapster's name onto it, or the date or whatever. Depends on how much time you've got and how much you love doing it. I would suggest that just a plain rectangle is fine. You could either make a little eyelet, or buttonhole at the top that some ribbon or cord or whatever could go through, or you could enclose a little length of ribbon or whatever between the two layers when you stitch the backing onto the front of your tag. I will, before the swap starts, I'll record a video making my first tag just to show you how I'm going to be doing it, in case that's helpful. I've been so busy I haven't thought at all about what I'm going to do yet, but I don't even start stitching until the swap starts on the 1st of October, because there's plenty of time. There's 3 months, you've got 3 whole months before you need to get your tags posted. That doesn't mean you've got to get them to the recipient by that date, it just means you have to have posted them, mailed them by that time. So when you think of it, so a tag, say if I took one of these squares and just folded it in half, that's going to be the size, well, it's got the seam allowance, that's going to be the size of my finished tag. So I think it's a nice little size. I would strongly advise you, it's up to you, but I would strongly advise you that when you send your little stitcheries off, make it just the tag. Just pop it inside a card and inside a plain envelope. Try and keep it under 5mm thick, because that will keep the cost of your postage down. In the UK, that means it can go as a letter. It's not like doesn't even have to go large letter if it's under 5mm thick. Make sure you do put adequate postage on it, because you don't want your recipient to get lumbered with that. I would say, I'm saying plain envelope because a couple of people have mentioned that if you put them in fancy envelopes it can hold things up, they're more likely to open the envelopes, charge you fees and things. So just put it in a plain envelope. Absolutely no need to put anything else with it. Just put your square inside a card in your plain envelope. Obviously you want to write a note to your swapster. It's lovely when people put lovely little goodies. I've got some beautiful things in with my swaps, but honestly there's no need to, and it will put the cost of postage up for you, especially if you're doing quite a number. I did 45 the first time. I got 60 back because some people made me more than one. Some people sent me squares that I didn't even, after the point where I said sorry I can't do any more, they still sent them anyway, which is so sweet. So I ended up with about 60 for the first swap. And if you're sending out an awful lot, you know it can get quite expensive to post, so you want to make sure you keep your cost of postage down. There's absolutely no need to put all the extra goodies in, although it's such a lovely thought. Also, a couple of people mentioned that with the extra bits in, they ended up paying customs duties on them. So yeah, that didn't happen to me at all, and I never had a problem with any of them. And I think out of all the swaps I arranged over both swaps, only 2 didn't show up. So if you would like to join in, you'll love it, you'll love a blast. Last time I sat the last one out because I wanted to take the time to finish stitching the squares I'd already been sent into my fabric keepsake books. In practice I haven't got around to doing that, they're still not all stitched in, and I felt really left out. I had serious FOMO going on. Because I could see all the other squares going back and forth, and I wasn't taking part. So yeah, itching to go again this time. So if you would like to take part, I have put all of this into this printable Word file. The same information sheet will also be posted in the Facebook group and in the Discord community. So in the Discord community we have a special Stitchery Swap room. If you go in there and look at pinned messages, you'll find it's there. If you can't find it easily, just check pinned messages and it will be there. Any questions when you're in there, just ask, someone will always help you. Same in the Facebook group, except there's not a separate room. Obviously in the Facebook group you just post everything in the same place, don't you? I'll include all of this in a post in the Facebook group, and that will be in featured posts as well. I'll pin that, so if you go towards the top you can see featured posts and you'll find it in there. Again, any problems, if you can't find it at any point, give us a shout. We've got some lovely ladies who help me as admins and moderators in the Facebook group and Discord, so there'll always be someone to help you, and everybody in there. It's just such a warm and friendly group of people. So if you're confused about anything, just shout. Someone will shout up. So first thing to do if you want to take part is to find your swapsters. That means if you're not already a member of the Arty Farty Annie group on Facebook and or the Arty Fartists Discord community, you can You can be in both, and they're both free, and you can look for Swapsters in both groups. So first thing is to join that if you haven't already, and then you need to do a post. So I don't take any response. I don't like gather all of the swaps in and send them out. I'd be doing it all year. I don't have any responsibility for that. All I'm doing is giving you the prompts and the ideas, and then providing the forum for you to arrange your swaps. So you need to go in and do a post in the Facebook group and or the Discord community, Stitchery Swap room in there, just saying that you're looking for Swapsters. And this is what your post should include. You need to say where you are, which country you're in, which countries you're happy to post to. Lots of people only swap within their own country because obviously it saves a lot of money, but it is fun to swap with people all over the world as well. So it's, yeah, just bear in mind the cost of postage. It might be worth checking what that's going to cost before you commit to your swaps. And I think because I've introduced the idea of doing tags instead of squares this year as an optional thing, I would say it's worth mentioning in that first post whether you're going to be doing tags or squares, or whether you're happy to do either, because you can always agree that with your individual swapsters. Then what happens is people will respond to your post by commenting, by leaving a comment on your post to say they're interested in swapping with you. And then you can say, great, still looking for swaps, please PM me. Don't ever swap your personal address or anything out in the open in a Facebook group. Always just do it by private message. Don't forget that you can also scroll down through the group, check for other people who've posted, and you can comment on their posts and say, yep, I'm up for swapping with you, I'll PM you. And again, swap your addresses, and just agree if you need to agree between yourself. I'll be doing a tag, I'll be doing a square. The other bit I forgot to mention, so there's an optional twist, do the tag instead of a square. There's also an optional theme, and the optional prompt, if you like, at this time is going to be celebrate. I came up with the word celebrate because I thought, well, the swap's going to be ending up around Christmas and New Year time. Not everybody celebrates either of those things, but there are so many other ways that you can interpret the word celebrate. And this is an optional theme. You don't have to. You can just do a bit of random stitching and do whatever you like. You can choose your own theme, but it's just a suggestion because some people do like a prompt. So there are other celebrations, of course. There's Hanukkah, Diwali, other celebrations, religious festivals like that. You could celebrate any favourite event, or an event that's particular to you. You could be inspired by objects that are associated with celebrations, so like fireworks, balloons, flowers, cupcakes. Or it could be something that you personally want to celebrate, you know, a personal achievement, or international friendships, you know. You can interpret it in any way you like, or as I say, you can just ignore it altogether. Do bear in mind that if you're doing a tag, one nice way to display it would be just to hang them, just to tie them perhaps onto a Christmas tree, or one of those, I've got one of those white branch things that you can put out really any time of the year, or you could tie them all the ones you receive, onto a banner, you know, make a kind of like a bunting, like a tiny bunting with it. I might do that and hang them in my craft room window. Depends on how many I get though. I might not be able to see if I do 45. Another way to store them that would look really pretty would be just to clip them all, which is what Anne Brooke did with the 52 tags. Just put them all onto a book ring and just make like a little tiny book with them. Or create a fabric book with little pockets in that the tags can slip into, perhaps along with the card that they came inside. That'd be quite a nice way to display them. I'm hoping that people will swap tags with me rather than squares this time, because I think it'd be nice to just by way of a change really. And perhaps I could put them up on my white branch thing on the table behind me, at least for a little while. So yeah, once you've found your swapsters, however many swapsters you want, it's time to start stitching. You can start posting your tags to your swapsters anytime from the 1st of October, from the 31st of December. Please do be patient. If you've sent all yours off early on, just bear in mind that not everybody works at the same pace. It isn't a race, it's slow stitching. It's meant to be fun and relaxing, and I want everybody to enjoy it. I would say don't take on too much, especially if this is your first swap. Think about how much it's going to cost you to post. Think about how long they're going to take. Don't overcommit. You could always, if it's your first time, just do a couple. to start with, or even just one. See how you get on, because during the course of the swap, the 3 months of the swap, you'll always find new people coming in, or people who've finished doing their first batch of swaps and are itching to do a few more. There'll always be someone else you can find to swap later on in the 3 months. So I would say don't take on too many. Don't get carried away and take on too many and think, oh no, this is far too much, I'm snowed under, and you won't enjoy it. So yeah, what I was saying was be patient, waiting for your swaps to arrive. Not everybody is. I'm really slow. I can tell you now, anybody that agrees a swap with me, you very likely won't get your swap from me until January 2025, because I'll be posting them right up until the deadline. I'll be right up against it. I know what I'm like, and I'm not going to put myself under pressure to do it all really quickly and not enjoy it, you know. So yeah, if you don't, we haven't got a post until the 31st of December, so chances are you might not get some of your swaps back until January, and especially if they're coming from overseas, you can wait several weeks. A few people did wait several weeks for their swaps to arrive, so do sort of be patient about it. Having said that, if you find you have taken on too much, or something's happened, so, you know, unforeseen circumstances mean that you are going to have a problem getting your squares done in time, or your tags done in time, just keep your swapsters informed if you can. Try and keep them informed, because if you let people know what's happening, people are usually really understanding about it. Try and not just go quiet on them and leave them wondering, well, what happened, because that's a bit, you know, disappointing for people. So it's a double-edged thing, really. So it's like be patient if people are taking a bit longer. Try and be understanding if they get in touch with you and say, I'm really sorry, I'm up to here, I'm going to be a little bit late, or something's happened, you know. Try and be a bit understanding, but also from the other point of view, please keep people informed if there are going to be any hold-ups, because, you know, it's a bit disappointing for people if they've sent out 20 squares and only got 2 back. Having said that, I don't think there have been many problems like that, but, you know, it did come up once or twice, so just be nice to each other, you know, let's play nice. When you do receive a square, remember to take a photo of it and post it in the Facebook group and or the Discord community, because people once you've sent your little piece of stitchery off, you're like itching to see, to know that it's arrived at its destination safely and that the person was happy with it. It's just you just keep looking, waiting to see it, and sometimes people just forget to do it or haven't had time. So yeah, if you haven't got time to take a photo and stuff yet, just at least drop a quick private message to your swaps and say it's arrived, I'll post it soon, or whatever. These all seem like really obvious things, but they are. I didn't say all this during the first swaps. This is just based on things that have come up during the course of the previous 3 swaps. I'm not going to be doing, for people who've done the Stitchery Swaps before, you'll be aware that I was constantly asking people to take photos and send them to me for the gallery. I'm not going to be doing a gallery this time, because I think the galleries are lovely. I'm going to leave links to the previous 3 galleries because they're amazing and inspiring, and, you know, it was lovely to see them all together, but they got smaller each time. What I found this time was that I was sending out constant reminders to please send me photos of the squares that you make so that I can put them in the gallery. And I was constantly reminding, I could see all these beautiful squares being posted, and I was thinking, well, nobody sent me a picture of that one. Nope, definitely haven't seen that one. That's not going in the gallery. Such a shame. All these beautiful squares that didn't get included in the gallery. If you're watching and you've still got photos that you took and you haven't sent them to me, it's not too late. I can always add them. So bear that in mind. My link tree will be in the description box to this video, and that will have links to the Facebook group, the Discord community, and my email. So in the end, I just concluded that people just aren't as interested in having them in the online gallery. Or not many people. A few people love the idea, I think, but I spent such a long time sending out reminders, as well as all the time it takes to collate them all together, which I don't mind doing, but I just had to tell myself, I'm flogging a bit of a dead horse here. I'm not gonna keep hassling people to do something that they're clearly not interested in. So I'm not going to do the gallery this time, so don't worry about that. I think that's everything. Quick recap. So, optional theme, celebration, interpret it however you like, or ignore it and use your own theme, or don't have a theme at all, do something different for every piece. It's totally up to you. Prompt is only there if if you want it. Optional twist, do a tag instead of a square. Make sure you agree that with your swapsters before you swap, because sometimes people have plans for what they're going to do with the swaps they get back. So it might be that a tag won't fit their plans or whatever. So just make sure you mentioned it. I'm doing tags. Or sometimes people were saying, I'd really like purple, or I'd really like cats in the squares I get back. So people, you can arrange that kind of thing between yourselves. Totally up to you. Size, either 10 by 10. Oops. Either 10 by 10 square, 4 by 4 inches, or 10 by 5 tag, which is 2 by 4 inches. Bear in mind that I think I started to say earlier on and distracted myself. I would say that the tags are going to hang like that. If people want to tie them onto a tree or onto a banner or whatever, I would say if there's a right way up, if you're going to do a design that has a right and wrong way up, I would say have it that way, because that's going to work better if people want to use it as a hanging decoration of any kind. If you want to, you could make a fancier tag shape. Up to you. I just wanted to keep it really, really simple. But yeah, you could just, you could do corners like that. If you've got one of those dies for a fancy tag shape, those dies will, even the thin dies, will cut through thin fabric, so and felt. So you could do that, definitely. Swap starts 1st of October, and the deadline for posting is 31st of December. But you can go and make sure you're joined up in the groups, and start looking for your swapsters now. Start having to think about what you're going to do. Don't forget to keep your swapsters in the loop if anything comes up unexpected, and don't forget to post pictures when your swaps arrive with you. I'm so excited to be joining in again this time. That's about it in a nutshell. The main thing is to have fun stitching. Don't fret about it. Don't feel like it's got to be perfect. Enjoy the process. Don't take on too much. And the other important point I've just reminded myself of is keep it simple. Just put your tag or your square inside a card and put it in a plain envelope. Don't feel obliged to put other things in. This is totally up to you. It's just my advice for everybody's benefit, really. But you do what you want to do, obviously. And I think that's it. And I think the main thing is just have fun with it. Just enjoy the whole process. Oh, if you haven't done it before, you can have a blast. And if you have done it before, you'll already know how much fun it's going to be. So thank you very much for joining me. If I've forgotten anything, I don't think there's anything major I've forgotten. Just, as I said, give me a shout in the comments or message me. Thanks very much for joining me today. I hope you're as excited as I am to get started, and I will see you again really soon. Bye. Oh, where's no cursor?